Welcome back to the ship project. In this part I will be working on the Warthog, the storage chest and the Shipwreck. Three very different prints, each with its own textures and materials, but all sharing the same earthy, weathered look of the series. Let's begin. The Shipwreck and the chest were printed together on the build plate. After removing the supports, both were washed, cleaned and cured. The Warthog was printed much earlier, but I am finally painting it now to complete this group. All parts were primed in white to keep the surface bright and readable before applying color. I started with a dark grey base on the Warthog. When the base received a natural grey tone and the clay pots were painted in warm earthly colors. For the shipwreck's water area I used a blue ink to create a soft foundation for later reflections. All wooden parts got 2 layers of chocolate brown, rich and opaque, to form the main structure. The saddle was painted with warm leather. The rolled bedrolls on the side in dark green, later refined with a second layer for depth. The tusks were painted bone white. Since the grey fur felt too cold, covered it with a reddish brown, almost opaque, but leaving some grey in the shadows. After that I painted base edge black and added a light black wash to bind all tones together. The chest fittings and the metal details on the ship revised aging metal for a slightly worn gold contrast against the warm browns. Finally I painted the hooves and the nose in black to ground the model visually. From here I moved into the highlight and texture phase. The fur got a drybrush in lighter reddish brown just to catch the upper strands and break the monotony. For the eyes I added a red base with a rim left around the edge, creating a warm inner glow. The ship and the chest both revised the same reddish brown drybrush to unify their tones. On the Warthog's base I used a green brown drybrush, a natural dirt tone that helps it blend into the overall scene. The metal rings and the small fittings were touched up again with aging metal. Then I added thin lighter brown streaks over the wood grain, subtle but effective in creating variations. The fur got another drybrush in light grey for a bit more texture. Edge highlights were added to the nose and hooves, small details that give a bit of life to the miniature. The carved runes on the shipwreck were first painted white, then glazed with electric blue to create a subtle glowing effect. In the deeper water areas, I added deep sea blue and later with another layer of blue wash to get richer tones. I cleaned the base edge again in black, then Drybrush beige brown dust along the base and fur to make it look naturally weathered. And the saddle leather revised light strokes in a warmer tone, not edge highlights, just texture lines to make the material feel worn, suggests form and movement. The chest got metallic edge highlights. For the final touch, I added a small white reflection point in the eyes, a very light Drybrush in near white went over the fur only on the highest raised areas. The tusks were finished with white tips. At this stage, the composition came together. The warm fur tones and the cold metal and saturated blues of the water connecting the whole scene. That complete part 5 of the ship project. And next time I will move to part 6, the ship itself. If you have enjoyed this process, consider subscribing or leaving a like. It really helps. Thanks for watching. See you in the next part.